now tuning at 8 o'clock because their viewing patterns are different. So especially for your audience as well, I think it's important to also.
Sorry, you said you wanted this as a short form.
Yes, sure.
Yeah, I think short forms are exactly that, short forms, right? And I feel like there's such beautiful messaging in what you want to explore, but there's too many things in one thing. So I think that I think we always think as artists, like, I just want to be broad, I want to mention all of these things so everybody feels included, but actually specificity is your friend. So rather, pick an idea, pick the one thing that you want to focus on and the story you want to tell, and tell that story. If you want to explore all of those things, then maybe think of it as a series, and then episode 1, 2, 3, 4, and split it up like that, because the minute you throw too much information at people, like, they just like block it out, and they just like, there's too many things to focus on here. So rather specify what you want to tackle. Do you want to tackle unemployment? Do you want to tackle drinking, alcoholism? Do you want to tackle, you know what I mean? So like, pick a thing and stick to it. Otherwise, change your structure to a series, then you can explore everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Any more comments and questions? Yeah.
I think it's very relevant. It's something that, especially even with graduates, for example, you study and you think that that degree is an automatic, job, and then you see that, oh, you need experience or you need all these other things, right? So this question is there for a lot of people in the youth. What is next? And I don't know if you know about like the quarter life crisis, but it's something it's like a depression amongst the youth where they feel like they have no real direction and they don't know where to go or how to get their goals that they want for their lives. So I really feel like it's very, very important things to talk about. And like she said, if you either pick specific ones from it or make it into a series, I feel like it will be really impactful.
Let's give it up. Cool. That was very interesting. Very topical as well, And thank you everybody also for the feedback that you've given. I think it will definitely help. And that's also the whole point of being here, right? So we can have these conversations, critique each other from a peer perspective, but also just from what do you call it? Linear networking, vertical networking, all of those kind of things. Okay, cool. So the next person is lucky number 8.
So I'm constrained towards this inspired me about this. Back at home, I grew up in a rural area. One day when we wake up with this big news that there is this family that has been shot. The most of the members of the family has been shot, and then there is these 2 young girls that has been left. And then, but we didn't hear any justice for them. But is there anyone who gets arrested? It's just an end up like that. So during the pandemic, I lost my job. So when I was seated at home, I decided to write about it. So you killed another part of me. You killed another part of me. So the story is about a young girl, the name is Netemba Mata. This young girl now is a grown woman. She's a grown woman and a businesswoman, but she's single. And then one day she went to online dating, is whereby this young girl meets the killer of her family. How is that happening? So Netemba, one day, when she was at home, she was talking with her sister. Her sister is married and she's starting at overseas now. She's in overseas now because they were grown at foster care after the shooting of him, they took them to who's now is a business, a serial businesswoman who's running a business restaurant in Johannesburg. It is in London. So, what is happening? This lady, after 20 years, on her birthday, when her parent was killed, her parent was killed in her birthday. It was her birthday at that time when her parent was killed. So, after 20 years, we see her going back home to the neighbor called Mrs. Umos to check up on her. And then when Mrs. Umos sees how much she achieved in life, and then she says her that, hey, I wish that you can get a man now because you have everything, you have money. So I wish that you can get a good husband. So next time when you get back at home, she discussed this issue with her friend who's not the supervisor of her restaurant, but she's still her friend. So she discussed this matter. I went at home and then I asked Mrs. Bowen and then he encouraged me to get a name. Okay. After later on 6 September on the phone, who's talking to her sister who's in overseas. And then she's talking that I'm loneliness after the problem and I miss you. So her sister encouraged her to go to online dating. And then when she gets to it too, she still discussed this matter that, my friend, did you know anything about online dating? And then her friend encouraged her to maybe you can try it, maybe it may happen that you can find something. And then he gets Facebook to her office, and then he joined that group of online dating. And then when he gets there, he meets that handsome middleman. And then this man approaches her. And then when they talk, they have those conversations. And then Netel asks this man that, where you come from, where's your background? And then this man starts to introduce himself that, my name is Mitubo, I'm from Bantu. And then but basically now I'm staying here in Johannesburg. And as I said, because when he joined there, he didn't introduce herself as Netel Mambati, but she used another name and the same name. Yes. So when this man, when Netel asked this man about his background, and then this man brings this statement that I'm into two Mambata from English. Okay? That is where I go to two Mambata. Can I see a picture? Let me see a picture. And this face is familiar as the one that I saw when I was hiding. Because when the time when the shoot is happening at home, they started by shooting her father who was about to close the supermarket. And then they proceeded to the main house where they shoot a mother and the maid and the other kids. And then Snape also had to a closet. And then he sees this.
So the time is up, so it's fine. I think go with what you have and then you just do the comments. Okay, let's do that.
Thank you so much, Mr. Menelo. I know that was a very key for you. But, I think it's so beautiful when we step outside of our comfort zone, so it really does take, a lot of heart to be able to stand and present your idea. So I don't have a lot in my end because obviously we ran out of time. But for me, I found the theme really interesting in terms of what the story was based on because I think it's different. But I also believe that, it was very difficult to also follow the presentation because then you started going into the story. You actually started going into the script and what was happening. So I think for me, the only advice I can give is that go back into your presentation and rework it and be able to say, okay, this is my story, this is how I can sell it in 5 minutes. And because then I believe, I might be wrong, then the script writing part comes after. So I think just work more and refining of your idea, working on those themes, getting it inside of you, practicing it so that in 5 minutes, this is my story, these are the things that I want to talk about, these are my characters, this is the reason for why I want to make this film. And sell the idea. The only thing that when you were talking about how the girl moves to Joburg, which I always talk about is that sometimes, so it would be nice to be able to take stories out of Joburg and back home, because we're talking about Munu. There's that beautiful scenery, the culture, the heritage, the language is very rich. And so sometimes I think as writers and as creators, just to think outside of that idea of always bringing everything to Joburg, but showcasing something different visually as well, and maybe there's the story in Munu, maybe she goes back there, I'm not doing any ideas, but I'm just saying, so that it's just like a difference and it also stands out from a lot of the things that are always based in Joburg. That would be my only note.
Yeah, I think I find I'm more interested in you than I am in your presentation. And you were saying this is the first time you stood up on and is that ever on a stage and to present your work?
No, I never go to stage. I only give it.
Okay.
And I'm just a writer on the
And what's your first language? Zulu. And where did you move to Joburg? 2013.
But
Okay.
my problem is I never get to that part to go to school and learn more about it, but I will have to go back to school and learn more about it because
Yeah. Because for me what's interesting is that it's like someone, like you're standing on the stage with like a whole story behind you of how you got here. And I'm very interested in that. And it's like, and exactly to Kumla's point, is it's like, to get people to get to this point, to be able to tell their stories, is huge. And I think what you need more than anything is the guidance to get your stories onto a presentation. That I would be very interested to see what comes out of you from that perspective, in terms of not having to rely on too many other skill sets that would take a long time for you to get there, but rather dealing with what you have, what stories you have to tell, and the people, the characters, the situations, all of that. I think there's a wealth within you that you need help to kind of like pull out. So partnership and team collaboration and that sort of thing, I think is critical. Because like I said, I'm almost less interested in this particular idea, but more about how we can find what you don't even know. Does that make sense? That you don't know the stories you have to tell yet, because you're still trying to take it into Joburg to make it relevant. Whereas it's
that's why it's because of the person who was going to help me to shoot it. He said, and we can't just, we don't have that budget to also get it there and then shoot it there. Then he said, the person who was helping, because I don't know how to explain. If there's someone who's helping me with the script, then we have just the story.
yes.
So that guy, he's the one who said, we must do it here because it's better.
Yeah. Look, and I don't want to get involved in your whole network of people. All I'm saying to you is like, I think what stands out for me with you is there is more to you. And it's like we're talking about that now with like what's cool to talk about and whatnot. And Pumla's highlighting that too, that she would love to see more stories set in there. That's where I think there is a general interest in more about the stories that are not all trying to focus in the same areas. More or less talk about what we know. Often that's what writers say. Write about what you know, not what you think is going to sell. And I think that's an exploration you could do. Now start trying to pull those out, because that's where it's coming from. Not what's necessarily going to sell. I think that's important. And then it just comes down to practicing. You're not too nervous when you walk up on stage.
Just going to open up the questions and feedback from the audience. Anybody? Going once, going twice, and go.
I just want to applaud her for her bravery, because it took a lot for her to actually stand up there. And since you're very much interested into the film industry, take the time for you to like network, read more about script writing, the whole formatting structure, and and I wish you all the best.
Thank you
me. I mean, it's our responsibility as an industry to do that too. You know, to find these people who, you know, you can see that they've got a lot of ground to cover. You know, and a lot of us have grown up in a privileged space. You know, we've been able to go to schools and, you know, we're surrounded by the Joburg industry, so we know. So, you know, like there's so much wealth that people have that just go unrecognized.
Yeah.
Because they might not have some of the other skills. So that network, I mean, you look at the Hollywood model is a lot about that. You get these groups of people that use each other's skills to elevate them together. You know, and that's a big part of like Birthmark is like this value of like, we got you.
Yeah.
It's like when you recognize talented skills, often the character that's more important than the current skill. Someone who's pulled themselves out of like still standing, you can just imagine how terrifying that must be for a person. You know, and like isolating. Now, if you become the kind of people that encourage that kind of like bravery, you're going to be surrounded by incredibly brave people by nature. And then when they get the skills, they're going to be incredibly brave people with skill. You know, and that's, I think, often what gets, you know, you be too quickly passed by these people because there's other people that are much more, you know, they're flashy, they've got all the flash.
Technical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so look out for that. Look out for the person who's come through so much just to get here. You know, because that already says a lot for their character.
Yeah.
And I think that that's incredibly valuable.
Yeah, just something I wanted to say while she was up there. First of all, well done. You did so well, you know. But I think something I wanted to say, I think this is for everybody that's pitching today. I think we always want to explain the finer details of our story and like what we want to say, what we want to accomplish, and all those things. But usually when you're pitching to channel, your idea has to be on one page.
Yeah.
Even like one full page is a lot. Like don't even finish the page. Whatever your story is, be able to explain it in less than a page. Because you don't have time. Chances are when you're pitching your idea, they're seeing 20 other people on the day. They don't have time to be listening to you talk for a good like 10, 15 minutes. So always think of how can I best explain this idea in like maybe 3/4 of a page to them and get my idea across. Yeah.
Yeah. Sure.
I just wanted to say thank you because I think that women's stories in this country are really important, and most of the time we just hear like very short news. I think like films that really make us empathize and feel are really important. So please keep on going and just like, yeah, keep on doing the things because it really was like I was in the story. So please keep on going. Thank you.
Also, and just to try to get back to also the theme of here we are, as Alice mentioned, here we are looking back is just about, you know, digging up those stories inside of you and coming up here and saying, here I am and this is what I'm all about. So, yeah, that's just all I can say about that. Okay, cool. And the next lucky number is lucky number 1. These moments are always awkward.
The project that we're presenting today is called Picth. So this person means family. It's a person with family. Okay, next. So as I said, my project is to tell you about yourself. This apple follows a young boy who just trying to navigate his way through life. He's met by